Join me to paint this quick dandelion scene using watercolor. I begin by wetting the entire paper and I'm going over it a few more times so that it stays damp for a good amount of time. The paper should be evenly wet and there shouldn't be any puddles of water on the paper. Next, I'm diluting Prussian blue and adding a bit of permanent orange to desaturate it. If you use Prussian blue just by itself, the pigment can feel too harsh on the paper. It pulls all the attention and doesn't give that soft, gentle effect. So I usually desaturate whatever pigment by mixing it with a touch of its complementary color. You can see I applied a light value of the mix on the paper. Next, we are going to add a medium value of the same mix, that is Prussian blue, with a bit of permanent orange. I try to fill the bottom area with this medium value right where the dandelion will be placed. Even if you use a slightly darker value here, it will help you to create a strong contrast when using the salt technique. However, I chose a medium value here and I filled the lower part of the sky with it and then added a few soft streaks as I moved upward. While the paper is still wet, I take whatever blue left on my brush and mix it with cadmium yellow to make a grassy green, and I'm using it to paint the meadow. As I paint the meadow, I make the grass in the foreground a bit darker by adding more blue to the mix. This helps to create a sense of depth in the painting. After that, I tilted the paper slightly to let the excess pigment settle near the tape and I gently dabbed it off with a waistcloth. Now the paper has a nice sheen and it's evenly wet with no puddles, which is the perfect time to sprinkle some salt. I have made a small hole in a sheet of paper and I'm using it like a stencil to sprinkle some salt through it to form a circular shape for the dandelion. Next, I'm using a circle template and choosing a hole of different size to sprinkle salt through it and create another dandelion while the paper is still wet. Next, I'm using the lifting technique to remove some pigment and form the stem of the dandelions. My dandelion stem is standing a bit straight here, but you can curve it slightly to make it look like it's swaying in the wind. I just want to share with you that I have added a few of my painting flops at the end of this video because sometimes we learn more from what goes wrong than what goes right. So stay with me till the end of this video. Next, I let the paper to dry completely. Once the paper is completely dry, I use a bit of Naples yellow to paint the stems of the dandelions. Next, I use Prussian blue to add the shadow part to one side of the stem. Next, we are going to add some grasses that are grown near dandelions, and we will be using the dry brush technique for this. I start by mixing the pigment in thick consistency, meaning there is no water in the brush or in the mix. I'm mixing Prussian blue, cadmium yellow, and just a touch of permanent orange, all in thick consistency. Before applying it to the painting, I test it on a scrap piece of paper. You can see the mark doesn't come out right, so I'm adding a bit of water to the mix. Now the dry brush texture looks good on this scrap paper. So now let's move on to the actual painting and add some grasses to create more interest in the scene using dry brush technique. As I mentioned earlier, I'm sharing my failed attempts here with you. In this first painting, I wasn't quite happy with the meadow. It just didn't feel right, so I tried again with different color combination, but this time the sky didn't turn out well. In this third one, you can see some streaks at the bottom where the dandelions are, and they don't really stand out. Then I realized this base where the dandelion sits needs to be filled with smooth medium or dark value without any streaks to help the dandelions to pop out. And finally, here is the version I'm happy with, and I hope you enjoyed watching it. See you in the next video. Until then, take care and bye bye from Prema.